everybody, it's Lori again, and welcome back to my kitchen. I received, as I've shared in the previous couple of videos, I received an amazing gift of fresh raspberries from a friend named Susie. Thank you once again, Susie. I always want to acknowledge you and your gifts to our home. I have shared how to make raspberry jam. I have shared how to use whole raspberries in fruit juice, whole berry juice. And today, with the last remaining amount of fresh raspberries I have, I would like to share with you how I make raspberry jelly. Now, the huge difference, if you're new to canning and you don't know the difference between jam and jelly, jam has whole fruit in it, where jelly is made by the juice only. So that would mean that the pulp and the seeds are removed. And so you're not going to dig in there and find wonderful big chunks of fruit. It's going to be a more clear product, and there won't be any seeds in it. So I'm going to share Amber and I. Amber is the founder and creator of the Snug group on Facebook. That's SNUG, Canning to Preserve Our Future. And you can find us on Facebook. Come along and join. No matter where you are in your canning journey, we welcome you. But Amber and I make our raspberry jelly virtually with the same proportions. And so even though we do it the same, I'm going to share her recipe with you today. I do extract my juice just a little bit differently than she does. But if you want to join the group or you're in the group, you can look up her raspberry jelly and you can see exactly how she extracts her juice. I'm just going to show you how I do it in my home, which is probably just a little bit different than what she does. But anyway, so the recipe for raspberry jelly is 5 pints of fresh or frozen raspberries. Yes, you can use frozen raspberries. Just allow them to thaw completely. Actually, you can heat them in a pan also to extract the juice. 1/4 cup of fresh lemon juice, 3 cups of sugar, and 1 package of reduced sugar pectin. All right. Now there is a difference in regular pectin and reduced sugar pectin. I myself always use the Sure-Gel brand. The regular Sure-Gel comes in a yellow box. The reduced sugar pectin or reduced sugar Sure-Gel pectin comes in a pink box. So I will be using the pink box today. Just because I do want to have that reduced sugar. Usually when I'm making jams or jellies, if I'm using regular pectin, I use an equal amount of fruit to sugar. So if I have 4 cups of fruit, I use 4 cups of sugar. But with the reduced sugar pectin, you can achieve a really good set without having to use all of that sugar. So that's what we are going to do today. Now I am personally working with I had 6 containers left of my 9-ounce packages of raspberries. And I just simply sorted through them, made sure that there was no berries in there, no leaf matter or whatever. And then I quickly rinsed them in a colander. Now again, you don't want to soak raspberries in water for any length of time. They become really mushy and they start falling apart, and it's just really hard to work with them. So what I do is I sort my berries into a colander, and then I just put that underneath my faucet and rinse those raspberries off just really quickly. I've placed all of my raspberries into a pan, and yes, you are going to have just a wee bit of moisture from rinsing those raspberries, and that's not going to cause you any problem. In fact, just a little tiny bit of moisture actually really helps with the juice extraction of these raspberries. So I am going to page down, and you can see that all of my sorted and washed berries are in a heavy kettle on my stove. And what I do is I just take a handy dandy potato masher and I just kind of start mashing those raw berries up. This kind of helps to create a little bit of juicing, a little bit more fluid in your pan than just the little droplets of water or whatever that you have from rinsing your berries. All right, that looks really good. You can see my berries are just really mashed well. Now, one thing that I do a little bit different that Amber does not is I really like to preserve the color of my red berries. All right, and I'm going to heat these berries for just a short while just to extract more of the juice out of them. And to preserve the color, lemon juice is a key factor. Now, I'm not going to put very much in here, just a little tiny bit, just a negligible amount, okay? And this doesn't have to count towards that amount of lemon juice that we are going to add in the actual recipe, okay? You just add a little tiny splash of lemon juice, forget that you put it in there, but it really helps to maintain the color. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to heat these berries. Let's see. Sorry. I'm going to heat these berries over low heat for approximately 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, I'm just going to kind of get them good and hot, but I'm going to stir continuously because we do not want any scorching or burning that will add a really bad taste to your final product. So over very low heat, I'm going to heat these berries anywhere in between 5 and 10 minutes. You're going to see that juice created, all right? Don't overcook it, okay? Because that's really not, we're not trying to cook these berries. We are just trying to convince them to release all of their wonderful juice, all right? So I'm going to get that heated up and get that juice flowing really good, and then I will be right back. All right, guys, so over medium-low heat, I have just brought my berries, my mashed berries, and that little tiny bit of lemon juice up to a simmer, and I've just simmered it for approximately 5 minutes, all right? I didn't bring it to a boil and then reduce to a simmer. I just slowly heated it up to a simmer and simmered for 5 minutes. And you can see that we have a lot of juice going on in that pan. So I'm gonna switch off my heat. And then I want to talk to you about the straining process. And this is kind of where I do things just a little bit differently, probably than Amber does. To achieve a very clear jelly, the best thing to do is to get yourself a jelly straining bag, or I think that sometimes these are called a nut juice bag. They're just a reusable straining bag, and you would put all of your cooked mashed berries into this bag and cinch it up and hang it over a pot or a pan. I'm gonna get this down. Hang it over a pot or a pan overnight to allow all of that juice to drain out of your cooked mixture or your cooked mashed berries. All right. Now, if you squeeze this bag at all, you are going to have more of a cloudy jelly. Now, there's not necessarily anything wrong with that, but it's just a matter of personal preference. If you really want a nice clear jelly, you don't want to squeeze that bag to get any of the pulp to come through the mesh material. You just want just the liquid fluid to flow out of that bag using gravity overnight. Now you can do that same thing. If you don't have one of these reusable bags, you can do the same thing with cheesecloth and just use 2 or 3 layers of cheesecloth to create a bag to hang your mash, you know, your cooked berry mash, hang it and collect all that juice. But I'm not a person that really, I guess, is concerned that my jelly is crystal clear, okay? I don't mind having a cloudy jelly. The benefits to me as far as jelly is concerned is the fact, particularly with raspberry, is the fact that all of the seeds are removed, because seeds really cause me dietary distress. And so I just avoid things with seeds. I love raspberries, and so jelly is the answer for me. And like I said, I don't mind if it's cloudy. So I'm going to aim you down onto my work surface here, and I will show you what I do. And this is a little bit quicker of a process also, other than hanging that bag and allowing it to drip for many, many hours to make sure you have all the juice, you know, out of it. This is a little bit quicker of a method also, but this will produce more of a cloudy type jelly, just so that you are all aware of that, and you can make the decision. whether you want just the clear juice or whether you wouldn't mind having a cloudy juice. So what I do is I have a measuring bowl and a fine wire mesh strainer. And all I do is start scooping in my cooked berry mash. And I don't like to work with a whole lot at once. And yes, this does take a little time. It does take a little effort, but to me, it's just the best way of doing it. Then I take a firm rubber spatula and I just start working that berry mash around in that strainer. Now you can work at this as long as you feel like you want to. You can work at it for a couple of minutes and get this mixture super, super dry. Or like me, you can just do it until your heart's content and you think you've got enough liquid out of there. And I feel that's pretty good. I'm going to move this spoon. And then I simply discard, can you see there? I simply discard all of that seed and mash into another bowl, a discard bowl. All right. And you can see just with those two ladlefuls, I have got a lot of juice, but this is not going to give me a clear jelly. This will give me kind of a cloudy jelly, but it's still going to be absolutely beautiful and absolutely delicious. Just kind of press and mash and mix it around. Don't press so hard that you ruin your strainer. You know, sometimes this wire mesh can actually come off the frame of these strainers, so don't press that hard. But just mix it around and mash it to your heart's content. And again, discard all of those seeds and whatever into a discard bowl. All right, guys, so I'm going to go ahead and continue straining my cooked berry mash, and I will come back when I have all of the juice extracted. All right, guys, so I've got all of my wonderful juice strained from my berry mash, and this is what I have as far as just the leftover kind of dried out berry mash. All right. Now, this necessarily is not garbage. You guys, you can do a lot of different things with this. You could go ahead and make like a raspberry pie filling. You could even turn this into jam if you want. You could dehydrate this and powder it for use in like cakes or muffins. You guys use your imagination. This isn't really garbage. All right. So I'm just going to set these aside and we will continue. Now, the amount of berries that I had 6 9-ounce packages, so I literally had 54 ounces. And so I actually, what your goal is to achieve 5 cups of juice for this recipe, okay? 5 cups of juice. And with my amount of berries, I actually had more than 5 cups. And so I'm just going to take this 1.5 cup of extra juice that I have, and I'm probably just going to dilute it a little bit, add a little bit of sugar, and we're going to just enjoy it just to drink. So I'm going to set this aside too. So the point is 5 cups of strained juice, okay? If it happens that you do not have enough berries in order to achieve 5 cups of raspberry juice, you can go ahead and you can add other types of fruit juice to reach that 5 cup mark. Okay, so let's say you had 3.5 cups of raspberry juice from extracting, the juice from your berries, and you didn't make it to that 5 cup mark. You can add apple juice, you could add cherry juice, homemade, store-bought, it doesn't matter. Now, since we're doing a reduced sugar recipe, I would choose a reduced sugar type of juice, just because it just kind of goes along with the theme. You're trying to get away from all of that terrible sugar. So this healthy choice, healthy balance is really good stuff. Cherry or pomegranate cranberry, just the juice of your choice. So just make sure that you have 5 cups of juice to begin with. So that is in your pot. We are going to add our 1/4 cup of lemon juice. You guys, I'm sorry, it's been so long since I've recorded. I've been doing it the last couple of days again, and I haven't found my flow yet. But anyway, 1/4 cup of your lemon juice. And this is that Sure-Gel pectin that I was talking about. This is the reduced or no sugar pectin in the pink box. This is what I use. Pomona's, I believe, works really well for reduced sugar recipes also, but I've never used the Pomona's myself, so I really don't want to give you the wrong directions on that. So I'm just going to give you the directions on how I use my Sure-Gel. All right, so we have our juice, our berry juice. We have our lemon juice, and now we are going to add our powdered pectin. Now, of course, the reason why we have to add pectin is because we have removed all of the seeds from the raspberries, and so we need the support of added pectin. We removed the seeds, which contain natural pectin, so we need to add some. All right, we're going to whisk that well. And then, over medium heat, we are going to bring this up to a boil, and we are going to boil that for anywhere between 3 and 5 minutes. All right, we want to boil it well, just to make sure that that pectin has really, gotten incorporated in there. So boil for 3 to 5 minutes, and then at that point in time, I'm going to come back, and that's when we're going to add all of our sugar and continue the boiling process. So 3 to 5 minute boil, and I'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, guys, so my raspberry juice, my lemon juice, and my added pectin has been boiling for approximately 3 minutes. And of course, I've been standing here and watching it and stirring it also. I'm going to use a canning method called open kettle canning. Open kettle canning is where you don't go on to process your jars in a hot water bath. You just use a hot sanitized jar, a hot product, and a hot lid and ring. And it is safe to do with things that are high acid and have a lot of sugar, such as jam and jelly. Now, if you feel more comfortable hot water bathing your finished jars, you will just hot water bath them when we're done and get the jars all filled up. You would hot water bath them for just simply a 10-minute period, or you can also steam can them. But at this point in time, I am going to get my jars into my waiting canner so that I can get them up to boiling and boiling for a few minutes while I'm cooking my jelly. I'm also heating my lids and my rings in a pan of water also. So I'm going to go ahead and get those jars into my canner with water. I'm going to get that heating up, and I'm also going to get my lids heating up. And at this point in time, my jelly has been boiling for well over 3 minutes, and I'm going to add all of my sugar at this point in time. Now, the reason why we add the pectin before the jelly is because we want that pectin activated before we add the sugar. I don't know if I said that right, but I think I did. Anyway, we have the lemon juice and the pectin and we activate that before we add our sugar. That is one of the really, really big important things about making jam and jelly. So here we go. We are going to add our 2 and 3 cups of sugar and get that mixed in there. Now we're going to want to continue boiling this and stirring it. This is where a candy thermometer comes in. This is like a lifesaver for jams and jellies. After adding the sugar into it, I boil my jams and jellies until it reaches 220 degrees on a candy thermometer. All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and clip my candy thermometer on the side of my pan. Make sure that the bottom of your candy thermometer is down inside of your jelly. All right, and we are just going to boil this until it reaches 220. Now, one more little tip that I will give you is that jams, and particularly jellies, they like to foam a lot, okay, while you're boiling them. Just take about 1 tablespoon of real butter and add that to your boiling jelly. That will keep the foaming. It will reduce the foaming and keep it to a minimum as you're sitting here and boiling this. All right, guys, so my jars are heating up and getting sanitized. My lids are heating up and getting sanitized while I'm boiling my jelly at this point in time. I'm going to continue boiling this until it reaches 220, and then I will be back. All right, guys, it's been about 8.5 minutes that I have been boiling. I'm going to turn my timer off. I just wanted to time it for you guys just to really let you know how long it takes. And I have almost reached my 220, but I just did my spoon test, all right? I just took a spoon that was sitting at room temperature, and I literally just dipped it into my jelly, and you can see how this is absolutely sticking to the spoon, all right? I'm going to turn this off. And yeah, it's hot, but I want to show you something too. I'm going to take with my finger and push through it. You can tell, you can absolutely tell that that is going to gel immediately. Guys, absolutely wonderful, wonderful. All right, so now it's time for me to work quickly. And with the open kettle canning method, what we are going to do is we are going to take one of those hot sanitized jars. Where's my jar lifter? And I'm going to start with my 1 pint jar today. Hopefully, yep, it's aimed down, you're good. And we're just going to take that hot, I gotta get a hot pad here, guys, sorry. We're gonna take that hot, just screeching hot jelly and fill that jar to within 1/2 inch headspace. I gotta get my pan just a little bit closer. I'm gonna drip all over the place. If you have excess foam on the top too, hopefully you can see right into my pan here. I'm not really sure. But if you have excess foam on the top, you can just take a spoon and scrape that foam off. Now that foam isn't gonna hurt anything, but it does look a little bit better to have it taken out, so that it's not in your jars, your finished jar. So I got that foam out. Now I'm gonna resume working as quickly as I can. Of course, keeping in mind safety. Don't want to burn myself or spill anything on my foot. Right up about halfway up the threads of the jar. I see a little bit more foam that I want to get out of there. All right, and then quickly take your wet washcloth. Does not have to have vinegar on it, just a clean wet washcloth. Wipe off that rim, and then grab yourself one of those hot lids and rings out of your pan of water. Shake off the excess water and get that right onto your jar. And like I said, you guys, you want to work as quickly as you can here. You want everything to stay super, super hot when you are open kettle canning. And then what you're going to do is you are going to tighten that lid down firmly. Okay, you're not going to leave it fingertip tight like if we were going to process it in a canner, if you're open kettle canning. Now, if you prefer to hot water bath, you can do the fingertip tight. But with the open kettle canning, you want those lids on firmly. All right, I'm going to go ahead and quickly grab another jar. Get that filled. To within 1/2 inch headspace. Wipe the rim of that jar off to make sure we don't have any drips and sticky stuff. And I did drip down that jar. That one I kind of made a mess, so I got to clean it up. Then we're going to grab a hot lid and ring, shake off the excess water, and pop that right onto that jar. And tighten it firmly. Set it off to the side to cool. All right, I'm going to just continue filling the rest of my jars here and allowing them to cool and seal probably overnight. And tomorrow, after they have all sealed, I will come back and pop one of these open and show you guys the beautiful set and the amazing results of this raspberry jelly. All right, so I have allowed my raspberry jelly to cool and seal overnight, and here are the absolutely amazing and beautiful results. You guys, look at that. Look at that set. That one I must have tipped a little bit, or I kind of slopped on the side of it when I was filling the jar. Here's another one. Look at that beautiful set. And because I had everything sanitized and extremely hot, I can literally just take 2 fingers on the lid and support the entire jar just by the vacuum of the lid. I can do that with my entire pint jar too. Look, it supports the weight of 2 cups. So open kettle canning is a safe method when doing it with jams and jellies, and it actually creates a really good seal as long as you do it quickly enough and you know, the way that I showed you. Now I do want to clarify again, you cannot see through my jelly because I strained it through that mesh strainer, and so a lot of the pulp was in there. Now if you choose to drain your berries through like a jelly bag, you will, now this isn't the same color, but you will come out with more of a clear jelly. So if you are looking for the clarity in your jelly, I do suggest using that jelly bag idea, or the, oh, what's the name of it? Cheesecloth, that's it. Make a cheesecloth bag and just allow gravity to drain all the juice off. Don't squeeze it if you really want this clear clarity. And, you know, obviously don't put it through the metal strainer like what I did. But as far as I'm concerned, as long as there are no seeds in my jelly, I really don't care if I can see through it or not, okay? So I am going to open one of my jars and just show you how beautiful this set is. This was that little 1/4 ounce jar. Look at this, guys. Beautifully, beautifully set jelly. Get you down here so you can see me scoop. Look at that beautiful, beautiful jelly. Just an absolutely gorgeous set. Now this stuff was actually setting so quickly that it was actually kind of setting in the pan while I was trying to get it into the jars. So if you want to go to like 218 for just a little softer set, feel free to do that. But you can see that this is still very pliable. Even though it is an absolutely gorgeous set, it's pliable enough to set, or enough to spread. So here we go. Wonderful raspberry jelly. And oh my goodness, so good. It's sweet and tart. It's sweet enough not to make you pucker, but it's tart enough to still really be refreshing and fresh, and it just tastes like summer. Just wonderful. But anyway, like I said, with that rule, that 220 degree rule, or if you want to use like the back of the spoon, like what I showed you, my room temperature is a little bit on the cool side. So my metal spoon, before I dipped the back of it into my boiling jelly, my spoon was a little on the cool side. You can also put like a large metal spoon into your freezer and chill it, and then dip it in your jelly, and you will be able to tell whether it is to that setting stage yet or not. But anyway, so there is raspberry jelly. As always, I really appreciate you spending your time with me. I hope that you took some information that maybe you didn't know away from this video to add to your method of making jams or jellies. As always, God bless you all, and happy canning, everybody.